Hello friends, this is Nidhya Chandrasekharan, and in today's session we're going to learn about brutalist architecture. So what are we going to learn today? Let's get started with the contents. And they are introduction, history, existence, characteristics, examples, and important questions. Introduction. Brutalist architecture is a style of architecture which flourished from 1950s to the mid-1970s, spawned from the modernist architectural movement. One of the most defining features of this look is the use of raw concrete that makes the building appear as though it consists of many identical modular elements. Brutalism is a 20th century architectural and artistic movement that emphasizes bold, confrontational, and bulky buildings which communicate strength, functionality, and power. Boston City Hall, part of Garment Center, Boston. Term brutalism. The term brutalism evolved from the French word brute, meaning raw. The British architects Allison and Peter Smithson coined the term in 1953 from the French béton brut, or raw concrete, a phrase used by Le Corbusier to describe the port-board marked concrete with which he constructed many of his post-World War II buildings. The term gained wide currency when the British architectural critic Reyner Banham used it in the title of his 1966 book, The New Brutalism, Ethic or Aesthetic, to characterize a somewhat recently established cluster of architectural approaches, particularly in Europe. History. Four major contexts. First used in an architectural context by Swedish architect HansAsplund in 1950, who discussed New Brutalism. In 1954, Reyner Banham used the term more widely in his writings to refer to the work of English architects Allison and Peter Smithson, who created the iconic Hunstanton School in Norfolk and later the Robin Hood Gardens in popular East London. The term brutalism came to refer to the functional raw concrete buildings emerging in the UK and London in particular in post-World War period. Due to the relatively low cost of concrete, brutalism was popular for rebuilding government buildings and providing social housing in the period of social sortie following the Second World War. Existence. Initially popular with the government and institutional buildings, the movement experienced the majority of its success from the 1950s to the 1970s. It was heralded by the younger generation as recreation against certain qualities of pre-World War II architecture, primarily its lightness and optimism. Brutalism, or New Brutalism, as it was sometimes referred to, it has its roots in modernism but emerged as a movement against the architectural mainstream. It placed an emphasis on materials, textures, and construction, as well as in functionality and equality. Brutalist buildings usually are formed with striking repetitive angular geometries and where concrete is used, often revealing the texture of the wooden forms used for the in situ casting. Although concrete is a material most widely associated with brutalist architecture, not all brutalist buildings are formed from concrete. Instead, a building may achieve its brutalist quality through a rough, blocky appearance and the expression of its structural materials, forms, and services on its exterior. For example, many of Allison and Peter Smithson's private houses are built from brick. Brutalist building materials also include brick, glass,